Hi everyone, it's May, and my book, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon, is now out. I am so excited, and I hope you are too. It's my first original middle grade novel in over 9 years. If you liked any of my other books, like Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, I think you'll like this one too. We worked hard to make it as beautiful as possible. The first printing of the book even has spreads. If you'd like the book with the spreads, best to get it now while the first printing is still available. You can get it anywhere books are sold, but participating indie bookstores have a special small print that you can get with it. Please spread the word. And please stay on after our episode. You can hear about one of the real life inspirations of the book. I hope they help you enjoy The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon even more.
Hi, I'm Alvina Ling,
And I'm Grace Lynn.
and we're book friends.
Forever!
We're childhood friends,
Who grew up to be
a children's book editor.
and an author and illustrator. Yay!
Welcome to Book Friends Forever. This is the book tours episode.
And check out our website, bookfriendsforever.com, and our Instagram handle at bookfriendsforever_podcast. Oh, and check out our new YouTube channel, also at
Yes.
bookfriendsforever_podcast. And you can see my beautiful hotel room in the background.
Yes, because you're on book tour. So I want to
am on
know,
book
how
tour.
have you been? How's it been going?
So that's if you're just listening, you probably can tell there's a difference in my voice recording because I'm in a hotel room in where am I?
Houston?
I'm in Houston. I am in Houston, Texas.
And I only kind of know that because we were supposed to record at 5 p.m. and we're recording on a Sunday. And then turns out I have plans. So I asked Grace if she could record earlier. And then it occurred to me, wait, what time zone is Grace in? Because I know she's on tour. So I'm glad we
Yes.
figured that out.
Yeah, I was like, sure, that's fine. Yes, I am on tour. I'm in Houston, Texas. And so this is day 7. I got 7 more days to go before I get home. So yeah, it's been really, really, really busy. I have not like today has been really nice. It's my day off. So
And it's Mother's Day.
it
Happy
is
Mother's
Mother's
Day.
Day and it's Sunday. So I've just I'm really glad that I have like this day before it starts again for the next 7 days because I think I really, really needed it because I was getting a little ragged. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I hope you're able to sleep. I guess,
yes.
well, this whole episode is going to be about book tours. So
Yeah,
we'll
so I won't talk about it too much. Why don't we talk about how you're doing first, and then we can get right into it.
Sure. I have been doing well. So today is Mother's Day, and we decided, Stephen and I decided that we would ask Stephen's mother to come. And, our niece Quinn always wants to come. So we said, why don't we ask them to come together and have a sleepover? And that would be fun. So they came yesterday, which was Saturday, in the late morning, or maybe they came around noon, and we had like a late lunch or a late like a brunch. Um, and we decided to go. It was such a gorgeous day weather-wise, actually today as well. So we decided to go to the botanical gardens, the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, which is right down the block from where we live. So that was very convenient. And then we were there for a couple hours, and it was so beautiful. Just different. The cherry blossoms are gone, but so many other trees and flowers were blooming. A lot of irises were blooming. Um, and then we stopped in the Brooklyn Museum for a little, like just maybe for less than an hour, just to see some certain exhibits, including one called the Dinner Party, which Stephen's mom had seen like decades ago when it was in Chicago, maybe, or somewhere else, and she had remembered it. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I no, the artist's last name is Chicago actually, but I don't think she's from Chicago. But for some reason that sticks with me. But it's this beautiful triangular shaped huge table, and each table setting is a different powerful woman from goddesses. So, I can't even, there's like maybe the goddess of fertility, for example, and each setting, there's a beautiful plate that's designed in a different way. And then there's some actual, like women like Elizabeth Cady Stanton or Sojourner
Sure.
Truth. Sojourner Truth. Yes, I cannot speak. So it was really, really cool. I had actually
That's
seen it before, but I hadn't seen it in a while. So
Oh wow, that's so it's an exhibit that's been around
for
for
a long
that long.
time.
Wow.
Well,
I wonder how those kind of exhibits work.
maybe it's not decades. Now I feel like I need to.
Because like do they have like I guess an exhibit like does it just go around the country over and over and again, like the
Yes,
Grateful
okay.
Dead?
So it's called The Dinner Party by Judy, Chicago.
Uh-huh.
I think it's the 70s. Yeah, so yeah, it's an important icon of 1970s feminist art. But I guess I don't know exactly when, but I feel like maybe Stephen's mom saw it in the 70s. I don't know.
Wow. That's kind of cool. I never really thought about exhibits just being around, going around, traveling and traveling since like the 70s. Yeah, it is kind of like, oh, there's exhibits like the Grateful Dead. That's so cool. I never really
Right.
thought about
And I guess it was supposed to have been taken down and someone rescued it from being
that.
dismantled. And so I think it's been at the Brooklyn Museum for a while.
Oh, okay. Oh, is
Um,
it a permanent part of the
I
collection?
think now it is.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't
Okay.
know, but it didn't start here. So
I see. Got it.
yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
it's not a permanently traveling exhibit. No, it's
no, 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 no. It's no. I think it would be, I mean, it could, I guess it could, but it needs a really large area. I think. So I think it would be really specific. Yes. So, and then, yeah, so they spent the night. We played a game, and then Quinn wanted to watch The Sound of Music, which she always does. So we just watched some highlights before we went to bed.
that's
She knows that.
sweet.
She's seen that movie, like I think literally 100 times, and
That's
she
so
really,
interesting that that's like her favorite movie.
I know. She's just every time she's over, she wants to watch it. And she really
Good.
knows the plot because she said, "Okay, can you play?" Because we said, "Okay, we don't have time to watch the whole movie. Let's just watch highlights. Which parts do you want to see?" And she said, Edelweiss. I said, "Okay, which one? The first time he sings it or the
Once again,
second time?" And she said, "The first time." And then Stephen was trying to find it, and she said, "It happens after the goat herd song." And before, like, she knew exactly where it was and what happened before and after. It was pretty incredible. And
I think my
pet,
favorite was the Goat Herd song, now that I think about it, with the puppets and
yes,
everything like
my
that.
favorite is Edelweiss. I just think it's so beautiful. So
Really?
we watched the first set singing, time they sing out Edelweiss, and then we fast forwarded to the end, and she wanted to see like the end when they escape from the Nazis, and we said, "Really? That's the scary part." She's like, "No, I like that part."
Well,
So.
there's a big, I just, I was, since today was my day off, I was scrolling the internet and there's like a big, it says World War II stories are becoming a really big thing with kids again. So
Mm.
obviously for certain reasons.
Yes. Well, Max in the House of Spies and Max in the Land of Lies.
Yeah, and well,
Really
and
great.
not just Adam Gidwitz's book, but like I guess Alan Gratz and Jennifer Nielsen, they have all these like books about.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
I guess that's
oddly,
the new trend.
I know. I mean, oddly, it's because it feels dystopian.
Mhm.
I mean, it's history, but it feels like the
Yeah.
future,
So I
sadly,
guess
or the
that's the
present.
new trend is World War II, which is
So
um
odd.
which I think is good because I want kids to learn about history, but as for me as an author, it's not good because I don't really like to write about World War II. So
Well,
and I probably won't write
that's
about
just I mean, we can not every author can or should write about World War
not
II.
every author can write every trend, and this trend is something I really can't write.
Yeah,
So
that's
that won't work
interesting.
for me.
Um, the other two things I want to mention is last week I went to a book launch for Nova Ren Suma's Wake the Wild
Oh,
Creatures. And I think I know you met Nova at TLA.
it's
Was it
so
TLA?
nice.
Yes, she's great. And, the Wake the Wild Creatures is not a book that I edited. I came over with the Algonquin Young Readers list, but I kind of have shepherded it to
It looks
publication.
beautiful.
It is. It's a really beautiful, powerful book. So Libba Bray was her conversation partner, and it was nice to see Libba. I've worked with
Mhm.
Libba, and she's wonderful. And it was a really great event. It was at the McNally Jackson in Soho, which had moved during the pandemic. They had moved, and I remember reading about it because I think were in some kind of rent dispute with the landlord, and they had to move. And so they're in the same neighborhood, but they're in a new space. And the children's section it's small, so you go down to the basement, and that's where the event was. So it's small, but it feels intimate, and it's nice because it's not loud. You don't hear noise from, people shopping. So I think there were maybe 40 to 50 people, and it was, all the seats were filled. And there are a lot of industry people there. Barry Goldblatt was there, who I haven't seen probably since before the pandemic. Molly O'Neill, who's an agent. Elise Howard, who is now an agent, but she actually was the editor for Wake the Wild Creatures. So she was there. And Cheryl Klein, who worked at Algonquin and was shepherding it along before I, shepherded it. So it felt like days of yore when I used to go to more book launches and book events. So that was fun. And then right before that, the night before, Stephen and I decided to watch the movie Sinners, which
Oh, I've heard a
everyone has
lot
been
about
talking
that.
about. Yes, it's the Ryan Coogler movie. It's really excellent. We really wanted to see it in the theater, and I'm glad we did. Grace is yawning and tired, so you can see see how tired she is if you're watching this on YouTube. Um, no, I really recommend it. There's a scene that everyone's talking about, which we can't stop talking about, and it's a scene that shouldn't work, but does, at least for us and everyone I've talked to. Like it's just it honestly, like we afterwards we thought this is like maybe the best scene in any movie that we've ever seen in our
Really?
life. It's
Can you give a
yes.
spoiler about it or no? Don't.
It involves music. I'll just say that. And
Okay.
because yeah, I don't want to. I think,
Okay.
and when you describe it,
It
it
doesn't,
sounds
yeah,
a
okay.
little corny,
Mhm.
but it's not in reality. So yeah. And it is a vampire movie, so it is a little bloody.
Uh-huh.
Which is that's not a spoiler. But it's just really, really excellent. It's so nice that there's just original piece of art that you can see in the cinema. I just feel like most everything else is are remakes, and so or just franchises. So it's
Like
really
Marvel over and over. Not that anything's wrong with Marvel, but it's just there's a lot of
right.
them.
No, but you just want to see like original, like this felt
Something
like
new.
art.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. Art versus, yeah. I was having an interesting conversation with somebody about that,
mm,
about like books that are really great and they're like for curriculum and like I could see why teachers and everybody love them, but like it's less art and more I don't know. What would you call that? More less art, more literature, you know? I don't know. But then literature is art, so I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, maybe that can be another topic
I
in the
know.
future.
When after I get my thoughts, like I'm really out of
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so
Someday I'll.
we want because Grace is currently on tour, we thought we would make this as easy as possible for you.
Thank you.
And but also I do think it's interesting to hear more about book tours because I think that as an author, if you have never been on a book tour, maybe it sounds glamorous or maybe you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
Oh, well,
anything. So
that's what's so interesting. So Kyle Lukoff
mhm.
was in the audience for my book tour book stop
In
at
Decatur, right?
in Decatur, which is I don't think he lives in Decatur, but he was visiting at the same time. You were saying that you always meet somebody in Decatur.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So we met Kyle Lukoff in Decatur, and we were kind of sharing like war notes, and we were talking about how like before we ever went on tour, because I think my very first tour was for When the Sea Turned to Silver, and that was like 2016, right? So you have to think. 2016, my first book, 1999. I mean, it was a long time before I ever went on a book tour. And we were saying how before we ever went on book tours, we were always like, "Oh, I wish I could go on book tour. I wish somebody would send me on book tour." And then you would see all these authors going on book tour. You'd be like, "Oh, they're so lucky they go on book tour." And then when you're finally on book tour, you're like, "This is terrible." Like, why did I wish this upon myself?
Well, okay, so that was one of my questions was when you first went on book tour. And are you, so it wasn't till When the Sea Turned to Silver.
Yeah.
Um, but then you've been on, I guess you've been on tours for every book since, right? Even after, but yeah, I guess you had to wait till after the pandemic.
Yeah, I went on book tour for A Big Mooncake, not for Little Snow, but went for Little
All right.
Star. Then I went, then
And
went
that, so what year was Big Mooncake for Little
Little
Star? I mean,
Star
yeah.
was 10 years, 10 years, 2019.
Okay, so that was before, right before the pandemic ish.
Yeah, 2019. And then I didn't go on book tour until
Chinese menu.
no, until Once Upon a Book with Kate.
Oh, right. Oh,
Yes.
right. And that I remember it was you liked touring with someone.
Yes. And I was like, I need to write more books with people.
Yes. Okay, so before you talked about this a little bit, but before you went on book tour, what did you think a book tour was like?
Well, okay, so I thought it was, I don't know, it just looks so glamorous and wonderful. I mean, it's like, but you only see like the great things. It's like you picture like the author goes in, there's oodles and oodles of people, and there's like stacks of books, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so wonderful." And then you don't see, and that part actually, like, not that that happens, but like that part is lovely. Like meeting the actual event. Not that I get like the the hundreds of people and the stacks and stacks of books, but I'm just like that part's not the bad. The part it's the parts you don't see. It's the montage, right? That they that maybe you might see in the movie, the montage. It's like the traveling, the like getting up. You're like 3:45 a.m. Okay. Like getting to one place to the other. It's the actual travel that's really, really rough, and like the and making it and fitting it all in, and like so this round, I think it was, I'm forgetting where I was. Oh yes, I was in Chicago. I was someplace and I had to get on a 1 a.m. flight. Uh, and I arrived at 5 a.m. and then I had 5 a.m. and then I had a 8 a.m. school visit. And so it was really bonkers. And so you get off the plane at 5 a.m. and you're so discombobulated, and you're like, and I was, and like it's so hard to explain. It's like, um, I'm
You're like day walking, I guess, through.
yeah, and then so my day in Decatur was so strange because I was running on 3 hours of sleep, and by the time we had the event at night, I hope I did okay. I mean, I was so giddy, I was like, yay,
Yes.
it's so funny. Like I have no idea. But I remember walking down the stairs after the event with Laurel, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little dizzy.
Oh
Like
my
I'm feeling
gosh.
like I might actually fall over. Like I'm feeling really tired. And it's that kind of like, oh, I don't know. And also, you know, I haven't exercised, and I'm not going to exercise. The food is so like strange. And I guess it's also like, there's people that in town, they're like, oh, you're in town, let's hang out. And you really like, I really want to, but the truth is by the time I'm done, I'm like, I am beat. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like, I am beat. Um,
That
so,
is. Well, so Nova is on book tour and I feel like I saw her post that this was her first book tour.
oh, was it?
But because her book is YA and it's older YA, she doesn't do school visits.
Ah.
And so Cheryl Liu is her publicist as well. And
Mhm.
so she was saying, "Oh, at least you don't have to do school visits like Grace Lynn does." And Nova was saying the same because I think she's finding it, even just doing the evening sessions, but just traveling from city to city, she's finding that really exhausting and
Yeah.
stressful. So,
Oh,
yes.
I mean, I like. I mean, I do so few school visits these days, as we've talked about before, that in some ways I really do enjoy doing the school visits and interacting with the kids again. I'm like, oh, I kind of miss this, but
Mhm.
it is like it's stressful, like
Yeah,
'cause
you're adding, I mean,
add it,
it's
you
a
have to go to
lot, and you have to
the
be
next
on
school, yeah,
for so many more hours a day.
yeah, and so
So, I know, I feel like you mentioned this red eye flight and then having to do a school visit before. So I'm curious because you were trying to like get all your sleep tools on the for the plane ready, but I'm just curious how it all worked.
So, okay, so these are the things that I learned. Number one, when you catch a 1 a.m. flight, there is no TSA pre. So,
Oh,
and there's also no that I don't have clear, but I was gonna get clear. I was like, you know what? If there's a clear person there, I'm gonna get it. But there was no clear person. So there's no TSA pre, no clear, which is not a problem in terms of
is
line
it
when
because
flying.
it's not staffed? Like
Yeah, it's not
why?
staffed,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
which is not a problem. For in terms of line, but it's a problem if you're not used to like
Like
having a
taking off
clear,
your stuff. Yeah.
yeah, taking out your like a clear bag with all your liquids and stuff like that. And so I just happened I I actually prepared because last time I went on tour, my TSA pre sometimes would work and sometimes wouldn't. So I actually, because that happened, I separated my liquids from my thing, and I have a clear bag all prepped just in case.
Mhm.
So it was not a problem, but in the past when I wasn't prepared for that, it's a real pain because they're like, you need your clear li your liquids in your clear thing. I was like,
Oh
like, I'm like, I
no.
don't have a clear thing. Like it's like here's my moisturizer. Here's my like um so that's something to know. That at 1 a.m. you should have your liquids in a clear bag.
Yes.
And then um I was really lucky and I'm really grateful that I got first class for the red eye flights, which I 100, a million, zillion, trillion times recommend. It makes a real world of difference to sleep. Uh, the mistake I made this time around, which I'm not going to make next time, I got the very first seat. Uh, which very first seat, so where that means there's nobody in front of you, which would you think would be a good thing, but it actually really wasn't. Like it's like you can't, there's no place to put your underarm. You have to put both up above, and that's kind of a pain. And then and I think for a sleeping flight, you should take the window. I always take the aisle seat, but
Hmm.
I realized, oh, you should take the window. So those are some things I learned. You should take the window if you're going to try to sleep. I got the neck pillow, which was great. And I know you said Steven thought it was too warm, but it was perfect. I was actually cold.
Mm.
Um, so I brought like a long cardigan and a two kind of long cardigans, but I kind of wish I had something even thicker. So I don't know. It's hard though to
Right.
bring something like it's
Well, you can ask for a blanket, I guess. Did they
yeah.
give you a blanket? I
I
assume
didn't
for red
even
eye.
bother to ask, but I
Okay.
probably should have.
For red eye and first class.
When you're in first class, you're allowed to ask for those things. Yeah,
Yes. Well,
but I
even
didn't.
in economy, you can ask for a blanket.
I don't know. I never ask. But and I would the eye mask is super great. So eye mask, neck pillow. Um I would not is I had earbuds which I did not like because it was hard for me to sleep with the earbuds in. So I ended up not using those. And I think I slept okay because I was still like I remember like waking up.
Right.
So
So
I
you know
fell
you
asleep.
slept.
So I slept.
That's always a relief rather than feeling like I'm not sleeping, I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
sleeping.
So like when I
Yeah.
woke up, I was like, oh good, I slept.
Um, that is good. What would you say the highlight of your tour so far has been?
You know, it's been really lovely. Like I my some of my events have not been super full. But the people who do come are like super, super sweet and super, super lovely.
Hmm.
Like I got a beautiful little like I was at the Unlikely Story, and like that was an event that was not super full, but like I said, the people who came were like really, really nice. And this girl gave me this letter, and she's just like, "Thank you for your bringing your beautiful work into this world." And I was just like, "Aw, that's so sweet." And then like at this other event, someone gave me a really beautiful like a friendship bracelet that said the girl, the gate, and the dragon. And then the other event, someone gave me this chicken.
Oh, I saw that on
So
Instagram.
cute
So
that she
cute.
made. Look, she
That's
made it.
awesome.
And so
It's so
like
fat.
I know it's so fat. I'm like, I could have marshmallow or something. So it's been really, really nice to meet readers and to feel like, I don't know, it's like I said, you spend so much time alone doing your books, like you're just working, 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 and you're not really sure if people ever, if it impacts people or if people are even reading it. And so what's nice on book tour is like you get, especially when you're a kids writer, it's like you get to meet people who are like, oh, I loved your book, this book. And then, so the kids are amazing. And also, it's like the adults who are like, I read your book when I was, and I
Oh my
had to
gosh.
come, like,
Yeah.
and I was like it's a little bit like, a little bit like, oh, I'm so old. But at the same time, it's really nice. To hear from even like the adults who are like, oh, like I read your book and I had to come because it was my favorite book when I was in sixth grade. And I was like, oh boy.
Oh, that's
But like,
exciting though.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what I like about book tour is that I get to see that my work actually does make an impact.
Hmm.
So that is really lovely. Though, I mean, I think I posted this on social media. The bad thing is that like I spend a lot of time on social media, unfortunately, because it's like you're going back and forth, and so like you're bored and you're at the airport. And I just said how like I was at the Unlikely Story, and it was a really lovely event. The people were lovely, the story's beautiful, but it was like only half full, which is fine. Like I said, it was the people were quality, but then as soon as it was were wonderful. But as I left that, and then I was like scrolling, and then I saw like I followed the Unlikely Story on Facebook, and like they're like, we just had an amazing event with Kwame Alexander and like and Jerry Craft. It was huge, the buzz, and I was just like, oh, okay. And like it's the comparison thing, and I was like, I thought I was over this, but I was like, I guess I'm not.
It's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like directly
Yeah, because it's like the same
like,
store, like the
right.
day after, and you're like, what? So, I think it's yeah. So the comparison thing is hard, I think.
Hmm.
But
Although, I mean,
it's a different book. It's a different yes, yes.
right, but also like social media, it's like how act you don't know exactly. I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, I think you can compare it to like if they showed
yeah,
crowd
yeah. I mean, they showed the
shots.
crowds. I mean, because I was like, I was just there. I was like,
Right.
and they're like, I was like, oh, okay. So it was like, okay.
Hmm.
I guess so. I mean, but that's life, and it's okay. It's just those are the things that you have to like, or not you. I
Need
I
to
have
work
to
on.
like talk myself down from, like it's okay. Different book, different people, and like, things like that.
Hmm.
What someone's success doesn't take away from yours, blah blah blah. But I was I don't want to say disappointed in myself because that's not true. But it had been a while since I had had those things, and that's kind of
That
my
feeling. Yeah.
that feeling. And that's my speech that I give myself. And it had been a long time since I had given that speech to myself. And so I was like, ah, I gotta take out the speech.
At least you have the tools you need.
Yes.
Okay, so you talked about kind of the nitty-gritty travel details as being something you weren't expecting, but is there something else that surprised you the most about touring when you actually started going on book tours?
Wait, oh, just about touring. Okay. So about touring in general, um, I think what's really surprising is how different the crowds are in each place.
Mm,
Like in one place, it could be packed and you feel like a rock star and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm amazing. People love my books. And then the next day you're in another city and there's like three people and you're like, hi. And they're like, who are you? Where's the
Oh,
bathroom? Like I remember that for a big mooncake for Little Star. I remember that. It was like so it was such whiplash. It was like one store, they're like, we love you, hooray. And then the next store is like, oh. Not the bookstore people, but like the crowd.
right. No, no, no. Yeah, I always remember when, so I think Peter Brown, the first book tour we sent him on, or maybe not his first, but anyway, he was on book tour for The Curious Garden, and that
Mhm.
was his first book to hit the New York Times list, and he was on tour when it hit the list. So and then his uh, next event right after hearing that news was like no one showed up. So he said, "All right, I guess I'm a New York Times bestseller, but no one's coming to my event still." But yes, I mean,
I
I
guess it's
think
like,
even the hugest best-selling authors get that sometimes too. I mean, I've seen that. I've been to events with huge best-selling authors and just, sometimes you just don't know why. It could be the weather, it could be there's some other big thing happening in that town that maybe wasn't anticipated. Maybe it's the bookstore. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to
yeah. Well,
predict.
I remember actually pretty recently, we Raul Colon was having his opening at the Carl Museum, and of course all the book people were planning to go, but somehow it fell on the same day that we were having Lexi's surprise party. So Lexi's the bookstore
Yeah.
owner, we had throwing her this big surprise party, and we're like, we have to go to the surprise party.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I had to because I was organizing it, but so did everybody. All the other book people were like, we got to go to local bookstore owner Lexi. So I felt really bad for Raul Cologne. I don't know if he knows, but I was like, we took away like at least half of his audience was going to the
Right. Yeah. And you
party.
don't
So
know.
like
You can't.
those kind of things happen. And it was nothing personal and we would have loved to gone to both, but we had to choose. So maybe that's what I thought about. Like I have
Mhm.
to remember this for the future when nobody shows up. Like it
Yeah.
could just be someone's surprise party. So
Do you know, and I feel like, this is a question we could have asked Cheryl or any of our published city people during the publishing curriculum episodes, but um, do you know how bookstores, cities, the schools are chosen for your book tours?
no, and I would love to actually. That is something I meant to, that is something because I am kind of curious for me, because sometimes I'm sent and I don't mind, like I'm happy to be here in Houston, don't get me wrong. And I'm happy to have gone to Decatur, Georgia and seen Little Shop of Stories. And I think they're all lovely. But it is interesting because I do feel like there's places where I know I have a stronger readership, like almost any place in California, I know I have a stronger readership. And so I'm always curious, like why are they sending me here? And I know there must be a reason, and I always mean to
Well,
ask.
I know one thing that does happen is that so on Edelweiss, the catalog, speaking of Edelweiss or Edelweiss, I once asked people like, how do you pronounce the online digital catalog Edelweiss? We all say
Yes,
Edelweiss because of Sound of
the
Music.
song. Yeah, and I still want to know if that's connected. Like anyway,
So I looked it up and now I can't remember, but I think it is somewhat connected. So
is
I
this
think it's
that plant? Does that plant like grow, like spread everywhere or something?
yes. Now I can't remember, but the owner did. I think there's some loose connection. Anyway, bookstores put in their requests. So
Um,
I know when the publicist is sitting down to try to craft the tour, that's something they take into account because it's if the bookstore has specifically requested an author, then they are more likely to promote and feel confident that they can bring people in. So
mhm.
that I think is weighted really heavily. I think they also, I think they're also, so, every book has a certain budget, and I think the publicist is given a certain budget, and that helps determine how many cities. And then I think they do keep geography in mind in terms of what might make sense. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but I think they do try to like
Well,
make it make sense.
I'm curious if, and I don't know if you would know, because I know that many times authors are sent on tour usually around book launch, because with the hopes that we hit the list, right? With hopes
Mhm.
that the books will hit the list. And this is one way to hopefully help it like push by going on
Right.
tour.
So yes, you're
Um,
looking for the New York Times bestseller list reporting bookstores.
Yes. So does it make a difference if it's like the geography is like what like one store is in Houston, one store is in California, one store is like, or like if they see like all the stores that have the are from California, it ranks it lower. Like I'm just
I don't
curious.
think so. No, I think it can, but well, so I know the New York Times, I mean, it's not an exact, unfortunately,
Yeah.
we all know it's some
Strange
formula that
algorithm.
nobody knows.
Yeah.
And I know that they do take into account if a lot of the sales are from one account.
Uh-huh.
For example, like, oh, okay, well, all of the sales were on Amazon, so they're gonna maybe weigh it lower than if it were more evenly
Distributed.
distributed. So
So all my pre-orders from Porter Square are probably gonna be like lower.
no, but that's the thing. They're all different stores, so
Uh-huh.
I don't think that
Oh, okay.
makes a difference. But I do, but again, I don't know how the New York Times is calculating that. Yes, and then school visits. I do think most bookstores kind of have the schools that they generally partner with
Yeah.
regularly. So I think that's how the schools are chosen, which
Yeah.
is, like so our uh, uh I guess my step bio kids, live in Decatur, and so they often will get the school visits from the authors
Mhm.
who are doing visits at Little Shop of
Mhm.
Stories. So. Um, And yeah, I don't know what else. I know but yeah, it's a little mysterious.
Yeah, it's just like in
But
parts,
I know that
everyone.
you did, I think Cheryl did take into account, feedback from you as well.
Yeah. So, because I know like when I was in for a Big Moon Cake for a Little Star, I remember I did a stop in North Carolina. And I remember feeling like very confused, like because I was like, oh, these people don't know what a mooncake is.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what am I doing here? But then part of me was like, well, maybe it's good because that's the way you grow something. So that's why I was like, oh, maybe this is not about the book sales, it's more about planting seeds. So like maybe there's all different kinds of strategies like that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think so. And
Hmm.
then, sometimes it's, for the most part, we try to work with bookstores that we've worked with before and that we trust and we know how they do events. But every now and then, well, either it's a referral for someone or maybe they put in a great proposal or it's good to try, a new bookstore
Yeah.
and see how they do. But sometimes it is a little bit of a more of
Yeah.
a unknown
Yeah.
quantity. So. Um, how do you prepare for book
Okay,
tours?
so the hardest thing is the packing, right?
Right.
So because and I think it's harder for me than most people because I always do at least I always try to do a reader's theater as part of my school visit. And I hire Kirsten Cappy, who's part of I'm Your Neighbor Books, to help put it together. And she is amazing. She puts together the most amazing readers theaters with lots of props, and it always goes over super well. And I love you, Kirsten, if you're listening, but the props get bigger and bigger each time we do it. And it's a huge hit. The bigger the props are, the better the kids love it. But oh my gosh, it's so hard to pack. And this time the props are like as big as they've ever been, obviously. Like I feel like each time they get bigger, like I said. And so this time I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna pack? And my biggest disappointment on this trip, which is really stupid because I have so many. I've talked about this before. I've had so many beautiful clothes and so many nice clothes, and I feel like book tour is such a great place for me to get to wear all my nice clothes. But now for this trip, because I have so little space, I'm like it's black pants, black black shirt, and like two cardigans to change. It's like and one dress. It all has black and like it's like that capsule wardrobe thing, which
Yeah.
I know some people love. And I admire the people who love that. but to me, it feels so boring.
So
Um,
do you not check in a suitcase?
no, especially
Yeah.
because it's got all the props in it. If it gets lost, I am so screwed. I've
Yeah.
got no presentation.
Right.
So no, I never check in a bag. So I always have to have it carry on only. And yeah, so this time I brought laundry detergent with me, like a little
Oh,
bottle of laundry detergent, and I just
in a
because I had
clear TSA approved
yes, in
bag.
my clear TSA bag, and it's labeled detergent, just in case they think I'm bringing some kind of weird poison in. And I wash some of my clothes in the sink today. So because today is my
So
day off.
glamorous.
I know. See, those are the glamorous things that you don't see. It's like washing your clothes in the sink, like wearing the same black shirt and pants for 3 days in a row, things like that. So,
Do you overall like going on book tour? Like, do you think it's an effective, necessary way to promote and sell books?
you know, do I think it's a necessary way to sell books? Um, I think if it wasn't for the travel, I would like it a lot better. Like if it wasn't
Yeah.
so stressful to travel, I think it's actually kind of important. If it was, okay, sorry, let me take it back. If it wasn't for the travel and we didn't have to squish in so much in the time period that we have to, like if I could just do one event a day or two events a day or like one school visit and one, like
Hmm.
it would be, it's because everything is so compressed and everything is so on the go that it's stressful. And I'm like a stressful traveler anyway, but I do think that it is really valuable. I mean, like I said, it's so valuable for me as an author to realize, oh, people are reading my books. Oh, this is actually, people are like, my work actually has an impact. I also feel like it's really fun when I do a school visit and the Reader's Theater scene that we do is about the worm turning into a dragon. And so we do the whole reveal. The kids are so excited. And I show them the spread. Just like, look, do you see how there's two dragons here? Now you know why, And they're like, oh my gosh, they're so excited. And I just see how like excited they are to read the book after that. And I feel like that is really valuable,
Hmm.
like for an author to be able to drum up the excitement, for me to get the feedback that like, oh, what I did in isolation for 3 years, 10 years actually is alive now. I do think it's valuable. It's just hard because of how fast and how intense it has to be.
Have you ever recorded your whole Reader's Theater presentation and posted it online?
It's not that good. Um,
Okay.
it's not that good online because I had a media escort at one of the schools, and she recorded it and she sent it to me, and I saw it and I was like, it's not that good when you're
Hmm.
see it because it's like you see a gymnasium, like and you
Hmm.
see like and nobody and like everyone looks really small and like I feel like you don't get the energy of it,
Yeah.
but I might maybe if I can zoom in or something,
Right. Or maybe you could just put on a Reader's Theater specifically to put
or put
online and
yeah.
have a
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I
yeah.
could do that. I bet you that would be
And then
fun.
have your friends, kids,
Yeah.
and your daughter, like participating and give permission and all that.
Yeah,
That
that's a good
sounds
idea.
good.
Maybe we'll do that. I could do
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
Like we could like make it like a play.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that'd be cute. I want to see it. I mean, I have seen some of your theaters when seeing you on tour.
Mm.
Um, okay. Last question. What's your advice to an author who is going on their very first book tour?
Um, let's
I mean,
see.
you've kind of given a lot of advice
Yeah.
already.
So the thing I dislike the most is like I cannot eat well when
Mm.
I'm on tour and like I can't exercise and I can't eat well. Like it's just so much like greasy food. And I think I said this last time when I was on book tour for Chinese menu. Like I always brought some kind of fruit, nuts, and chocolate. And this time I could bring the nuts, I could bring the chocolate, but I couldn't bring fruit because I just didn't have enough room. And so my biggest thing is if you can get whoever is driving you somewhere to
Mm,
stop at a grocery store sometime and like today, like I and pick up something that is like not a fried food,
right.
not a processed food, you'll just feel so much better, like at least for me. And do your best to try to get enough sleep. I mean, I think it's like the sleep and the food. If you can keep that like basically good, I feel like you're okay to go. Like that's how I feel at least. Like
Hmm.
today I like feel like I got my sleep back. So like I'm like now I'm ready for the next week.
Hmm.
But Saturday, yesterday, I was like, I'm done.
Yes. And about exercise, I don't know if it's also that you just don't have the energy for it. But I
Yeah.
know sometimes when I'm at a conference and I don't have time, like to go to the gym or go for a run, I'll do like the New York Times has a 7-minute workout
Yeah.
and I'll just do that. And it just feels like, okay, I did
Yeah.
something.
Well, I guess the second big piece of advice is, this is more, is to try really hard to not take things personally,
Mhm.
or think of it like I said, because I think you're gonna have I'd be surprised if you go on tour and you don't have at least one bad event or one mediocre event. And if you don't, oh my gosh, good for you.
Yeah.
But like I think that anybody who goes on tour is probably gonna have one mediocre event, and just to remember, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope the next 7 days of your tour goes
Yeah,
swimmingly and
that'd
that
be
you do ha not have any
amazing.
mediocre or bad events.
Yes.
Fortune cookies.
All right. So now for this week's fortune cookie segment, we thought we should talk about some sad news that happened this past week. And
Infuriating news, honestly.
sad and infuriating and like maddening in the just ever, I don't know. I mean, so many maddening things have been happening since Trump became president, for in our opinion. And this is especially maddening, but basically President Trump fired the Librarian of Congress, Dr. Carla Hayden, because she promoted DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, apparently.
What was so irritating was that the statement was like she allowed kids to take DEI books out of the library. I was like, no kids are taking books out of the Library of
No, she
Congress.
is not that kind of librarian. Um, and anyway, even if she
And even
was,
if she
that is
was, that's
no.
not the reason, but like
Uh, I know. Have you ever met Dr. Hayden?
I have not, which is
No,
really
me
like
neither.
sad because I know all these authors were posting photos of themselves with her. It's like I'm so sad and saddened, and she was so wonderful. And now I feel really, really bad because I feel bad for myself
Right. Well,
because I
you
never
you
had,
will probably meet her, and
yeah,
I'm sure
but
she
I never
will
had the
do something else
opportunity
wonderful.
to meet her
Hmm.
as the librarian, and so of Congress. And I think it's just really infuriating. I know I have not been doing my 3 calls, five calls, but I do three because I only have three
Right.
Massachusetts representatives. But I haven't been doing my 3 calls since I've been on tour. But I will be calling today to ask them to at least make a fuss and say it's not right about this. And now there's a petition going around. Not that I don't think they'll ever reinstate her or anything like that, but I think if you send, at least it shows that like we think shows support.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just infuriating. Like,
I think yes, it's infuriating that they did it. It's infuriating how they did it, like via email, and I think they didn't even address her by her proper title.
yeah,
And then the press secretary said that Dr. Hayden, quote, did not fit the needs of the American people, and that
yeah.
her firing resulted from, quote, quite concerning things that she had done at the Library of Congress in the pursuit of DEI. Um, sh they did not offer any evidence of DEI pursuits, but accused, yes, her of allowing inappropriate books in the library for children. Um, but the New York Times article said the Library of Congress does not lend books to adults or children. And as the world's largest library, houses over 34 million books and printed materials.
Ugh.
Um,
I
yes,
mean,
I
and
mean, yeah.
that's what's infuriating the most is how the press secretary is allowed just to make these lies. Like it's just so so blatant, and yet so many people will believe it, and
Mhm.
be like, yeah, she shouldn't let them. And you're like, she shouldn't let them take out those books. I'm like, she's not. Like, the books don't get taken out, like, okay, sorry.
No,
Obvious.
I mean, it's hard. Of course, I'm still trying to stay informed and yet not get too angry. But,
Yeah.
of course, there are all these videos going around of ICE, of course, like
Yeah.
just basically arresting people and And, when look at the comments, a lot of them are like, if they're here illegally, then it serves them right. But the thing is, so many of them are, first of all, it's not right. There's no due process. But also, so many of them are here legally.
I
Um,
know.
and
That's
and so what, and it's not just that they're, so people who are here legally are being targeted for their political beliefs. Sometimes people who are citizens are getting caught in the crosshairs because of mistaken identity. I mean, there are just so many, and I don't know, there's just so many horrifying things happening
yeah,
that it's hard to recognize that we're in the United States. But
yeah.
uh, well,
Call
yes,
your senators, call your representatives. I mean, and hold on tight.
yes. There's only 3 years and all right. So I think we're moving on to our tell me about.
Tell me about, tell me about. Oh, yes. Alvina, please tell me about the singular life of Arya Patel? Is it Arya? Okay, Arya Patel by Samira Ahmed, who I'm a big fan of. She is such a awesome person, and talk about a fighter. That's Samira.
Yes. Yes, she's on the Authors Against Book Bans
Yep.
nonprofit organization. By the time this episode airs, her new book will be out. I realize that I don't have a copy of the finished books at home, but I do have the ARC, which I'm showing
I
to
really
the
like
camera.
the art. It's
It's
like
cut paper.
paper
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And
yeah.
actually, Samira asked to if she could buy the original art from the artist, and he sold her the art, so she has
Oh,
it,
it's
and
really
it's
nice. It's that cover doesn't I mean, when you see it,
right.
it
Yeah.
doesn't show how beautiful. When you see it in real life, it's really beautiful.
Yes, and I'll just describe it to people who are listening, but it's basically layers of cut paper in the kind of like wavy shapes, and then there's a figure of a girl in the front, and then the singular life of Arya Patel is overlaid over the shape, the colorful shape. That was terrible, but
Just look it up, people.
yes. So our what we officially say is that this is for fans of You've Reached Sam and See You Yesterday, and it's a captivating and mind-bending second chance romance which explores what it means to love even across the multiverse. So
Oh,
this is a multiverse story, kind of in the
is that
vein
a
of
first for you? I don't feel like you've done
Everything
one.
Everywhere All at Once. Have I done a multiverse story
Yeah.
before? I don't think so. I have done sci-fi, but what's funny is I have two multiverse stories this year, one YA and one middle grade.
Oh.
The middle grade is it's a similar title structure to your book. Wait, okay, The Planet, the Portal, and a Pizza by Wendy Mass and Nora Raleigh Baskin, which
Oh,
is a middle
okay.
grade multiverse story, which is fun.
Oh,
So
I'm starting a trend.
I know it's just funny because I edited them. They're on different seasons. So
Uh-huh.
Samira's is on our summer season, and then the next one is on falls. But I edited them like back to back. It's like, what?
Mhm.
This is so interesting. Yes, and Arya Patel is a teenager who finds herself one day just all of a sudden, well, first of all, in her real life, current life, she witnesses her mother about to get into like a horrifying accident, and then she immediately gets zoomed into a different existence and different multiverse. So of course she's trying to get back, both because she just wants to get home, but also because feels like she needs to save her mom or find out what happened.
Mhm.
And she jumps around, and then she finds herself stuck in one existence that actually she kind of likes. And then her ex-boyfriend keeps showing up, and this is the second chance romance where, in this multiverse, maybe they are, it's the right time for them to get together, which makes her maybe reluctant to leave. So it's beautiful. I think, it's a little bit different, I think, from Samira's other young adult novels.
Mhm.
We've published Internment, which I
Mhm.
think technically could be considered sci-fi because a little bit dystopian, like 15 minutes in the future, although it is kind of what's happening now. But in that one, Muslim Americans were being put into internment camps. We worked together on this book, Won't Burn. That's on
Mhm.
my shelf behind me, which that was just contemporary realistic. And we've worked on Hollow Fires, which is more of a thriller crime
Mhm.
novel, but it's also realistic with some speculative kind of ghost elements. But yeah, but this one is, I would say it's mostly a love story. I think Samira is known for writing almost like activist type
Mhm. Yeah.
texts. So this is not necessarily that, but I think it's activist in the sense that, brown teenagers deserve to have all kinds of stories,
Yeah.
including multiverse science fiction love stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's really good, and check it out.
Yay.
All right, now we'll end as we always do with what we're grateful for. I'll start with this week. So it is Mother's Day, so I will say I'm grateful for my own mother and also for my mother-in-law. And, I'm also grateful for I guess my stepmother-in-law, Linda, who passed away in January, but who, I'm grateful to have known her because she was a lovely person. So happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. And if you've lost your mother or have, or maybe have just uncomfortable feelings about Mother's Day, I hope you're hanging in there, everyone.
Yeah.
And Grace, how are you? What are you grateful
Um,
for?
well, I'm grateful that my family doesn't mind that I'm away for Mother's Day. Maybe they're happy.
Like, we don't have to make her breakfast in bed.
Like we don't need to make her feel special. So I'm grateful that I have this Sunday to recharge for the rest of the week. And I'm grateful for everybody who has come out and supported the book and supported the book and telling people about the book and everybody who has been really, really positive about it. So I'm really, really, really grateful for all that. And gosh, wish me luck for the next 7 days.
Good luck. All right, and that was the book tours episode. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Alex at Paceywork Studio for editing this podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about it.
And tag us on social media using the hashtag BookFriendsForever, or send us a message via Instagram at BookFriendsForever_podcast, or via our website, BookFriendsForever.com. And please join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes.
I'm Alvina Ling. You can find me at Planet Alvina on TikTok and at Alvina Ling on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
And I'm Grace Lynn. You can find me at Pacey Lynn on Instagram, Threads, and author Grace Lynn on Facebook and Blue Sky.
Have a great week.
And don't forget to read. Bye. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the After Episode Extra. Here I share quick culture, one of the real-life inspirations behind my middle grade novel, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon. Enjoy! If you are ever in China, make sure you look up, because if you do, you might see a parade of small animal sculptures on the roof. Why are they there? Well, you'll see them on important older Chinese buildings that have tiled swooping roofs. Because the eaves were so inclined, the tiles had a tendency to slide. To stop that from happening, builders had to nail the tiles to the crossbeams. To hide the nails, as well as to protect them from the rain, builders placed these sculptures over the nail caps. And the more sculptures the building has, the more important the building is. Most buildings have 3, 5, 7, or 9 animals on the roof, with the exception of the Hall of Supreme Harmony, which has 10. That building was considered the highest-ranking building in ancient China. Now, each one of these sculptures also have a symbolic purpose or a story behind them. For example, the Chiwen, or the dragonfish, is there to call rain in case of fire, and the Hongshi is the reincarnation of the god of thunder, so he can ward off lightning. But I have to say, my favorite is the fellow in the front, Shinren Chiji, the immortal riding the rooster. They say he was a king about to be killed by his enemy when a huge rooster landed before him and carried him to safety. He has come to symbolize good luck, and I just enjoy that story so much that I made him a character in my book, The Gate, the Girl, and the Dragon. I hope you enjoy seeing what he does in the book.